Hey humans, it's Hannah. Welcome back to my channel. Welcome to the Twitch Livestream Iceberg Part 2. We're going to do tiers 4, 5, and 6 today. A shorter iceberg series, but this one gets dark. I know I say that a lot, but this one gets really dark. So dark that I'm going to be very lucky if YouTube does not flag this video. With that being said, I put it at the beginning, but I just want to reiterate the trigger warning for this one. The trigger warnings on this video are bad. I will have to censor some stuff, and as always, if I censor a word that you might not know what it is, I will put text of it on screen so that you know what I'm talking about. But huge trigger warning for S word in this one. As you could probably deduce, this is the darkest side of live stream events. Not all of them are S words, but there's several in this video. Okay, obviously I'm not going to show any graphic footage. However, there will be like descriptions, and if it's not S word, it's often just someone unaliving. In general, others on this tier also involve, it's really bad, you guys. Other ones on this tier involve SA as well as DV. Pretty much all the trigger warnings for this video. If that's not safe for you to watch, like it's not mentioned in passing, like this might actually be triggering for you if you have been in a bad relationship recently, or if you're having any S-word ideation, highly recommend not watching this video. Go watch my Happy Meat Farms video. That one's fictitious, so that one's really fun, and I just posted that one last week by the time this goes up. Go watch a TikTok video of mine, something like that. I'll link some of my other more lighthearted videos down below if this is just not safe for you. Sorry for this very long disclaimer, but I just want to really want you to understand that this might be incredibly triggering for some folks. If you're desensitized and that stuff doesn't bother you, here's the video. Okay, we're starting off pretty strong with tier 4, Alinity cat abuse. Alinity is another gaming live streamer, most of these are, but she was in quite a bit of hot water in 2019 when clips surfaced of her live streams of her mistreating her cat. I won't show the video of her the actual part where she mistreats the cat, but just so you know, like if you do go to that particular video, it's not that bad. I'm not saying that what she did is okay, like the action itself is really bad, but it's not like very graphic or anything. It's just very mean. It's just not the way that you should treat your cat. But anyway, there's a clip of her. She gets really frustrated in the game that she's playing, and her cat Milo got in the way of her computer, as cats do. All cats do that, and she picks him up and tosses him over her shoulder pretty aggressively. Like, she doesn't shoot him across the room or anything, but think that clip of Colleen Ballinger, very similar to that, of her just like carelessly tossing the cat, and the cat lands on his feet. The cat was fine, by the way, but it still upset a lot of people, understandably. But because, as the internet goes, because of this clip, it made people dig into Alinity's past a little bit, and they found other clips of her mistreating her cat. On one occasion, there's a clip of her drinking some vodka, and then I will show you that one because I don't think that one is upsetting. Even if it's wrong, it's not that upsetting. But she's drinking vodka, and then she lets her cats lick her lips, like lick the vodka off her lips. Just a weird thing to do. Obviously, vodka is not safe for cats in any amount. And then there's another clip that also really upset people where she puts this sticker on her cat's face, and then she laughs as the cat is like confused and struggling to get the sticker off its face. You know, like cats do that funny thing when they run into a bag on accident, or they run into something and they can't get out and they like reverse. Everyone was calling for her to be banned on Twitch. Even PETA spoke up about this in particular. The outcry was so bad that her local animal organization launched an investigation. The local animal shelter, I believe, went and actually inspected her home, made sure the cat was in good living conditions, and they determined that there was no malicious intent to any of her actions, so they did not do anything, press charges or anything like that. That doesn't surprise me at all. Animal organizations are so overwhelmed that even if they launch investigations, typically if the animal has food, water, a warm place to sleep, like basically the bare necessities, and they're not obviously being like terribly abused, typically animal organizations don't do anything about it, even if that sucks, I know, but yeah. Interestingly, she did actually admit that all of these incidents that people found, she didn't deny anything. She didn't say it was out of context. She actually said that she deserved the hate that she was getting. And she said that everything she did was really, really stupid of her and that she learned from it. So anyway, okay. The next one is Corxea. I think I'm saying that, possibly mispronouncing that, I don't know. Corxea almost commits S-word. This one, FYI, is very scarce on details. I cannot find a lot of news articles about this one, just coverage that I found like of people talking about it on Reddit and of course the video itself. But I also had to translate the thing on Reddit because it was in Chile and everyone is speaking Spanish in the Reddit forums about it. So the translation some stuff might get lost in translation on this one. But the gist is that this live streamer who went by the username Corxea, it was very clear he had been suffering from a lot of mental illnesses shown by him just doing weird, inappropriate things on live streams. Like in this one we're talking about, he's literally naked from the waist down. You can't see in these stills, but because he's covered with a blanket, thankfully, but you do see it later when the police take him away that he's completely naked and he's doing weird things on live streams. But anyway, he'd apparently threatened to S-word on stream. Somebody called the cops and on stream they came. It's a big spectacle. The cops stop him. He was okay in the end, thankfully. That's about all I know about that one. Like I said, there's not a lot of info on that. Okay, JakenBake Live saves a girl. JakenBake Live was live streaming in Korea with a group of friends when a girl suddenly comes up to them. Jake immediately gently puts his arm around her as if she's part of the group and as if they all know her. And the girl in the group with JakenBake seamlessly just acts like they've known each other forever and starts dancing and playing around with her. As the video goes on, Jake explains to the person with the camera that they are quote unquote saving the girl from a creepy guy. Sure enough, if you look at the background of the video, this older dude lingering near them, staring at this girl shamelessly and lurking like he has no concern about how creepy he looks. If you watch the video back from the beginning, you can see that this girl was originally alone. And the backstory is that she noticed this creepy dude was following her for quite a while. And it's nighttime. This poor girl gets really scared. So she saw that, I think she even recognized JakenBake from his live streams, but I know that she saw that Jake was with a big group of friends. They had a camera out and she just went up to them and they immediately understood the situation and acted fast and helped her stay somewhere safe until this guy finally gave up and left. This is so creepy. I hate this so much because this guy is so creepy and has no shame about it, is like not even trying to hide the fact that he's following her. But on the other hand, this is so wholesome and wonderful. First of all, that girl was smart and was thinking really quick to go and just join a group and pretend like she knew this other person in order to get this guy to not think that she was alone. Very smart. And also just Jake and his friends being cool and not like being confused and weirded out by it. Just being like, oh, okay, I guess this is happening now. And I just love that. Fellow reminder to all the good people out there, if you see somebody that looks like they might be nervous, especially a girl, but this can happen to men too, like maybe go, if you see a girl like walking alone at night and you notice somebody following them or they're walking really fast for some reason, like maybe just take a second to look around, and if they look like they could be in danger, go run up to them, catch up with them, and be like, oh, hey, Linda, it's me, so-and-so, how are you? And then whisper to them like, oh my God, are you okay? I'm just saying, like, a lot of people don't do anything when they see something weird. And I've talked about this in videos before, but like, please be the person that takes action. Even if it's a false alarm, it's better than not doing anything in case it's not a false alarm. Man has a seizure in VRChat. This one is so bizarre, but it is exactly what it sounds like. So VRChat is a game in itself. You all know what VR is, right? Virtual reality. Well, VRChat is you can go in your VR headset, or I think they had full VR bodysuits on in this one, and you can go hang out with other people that are dressed as other characters in this room. I'll show you some pictures so you could get an idea. It's a very social VR game. So in this particular game, this live stream of this game, there's one avatar in the room that suddenly drops to the floor and looks like they start to convulse. It's so bizarre because it's a real person having a seizure in real life, but you could see the whole thing happen in game because they're wearing the VR headset as well as, I believe, the bodysuit. So everything that their real person is doing in real life, in reality, is happening in the game. So you're surrounded by people, but none of them are actually physically in the room to help you. This player's name was Drunken Unicyclists. Everyone in the room thought he was playing a joke at first. Apparently the VR chat culture can be very memey and pranky and prank each other a lot. So this kind of happens where people play jokes in the game, and a lot of people thought it was a joke. But everybody quickly, thankfully, realized that this was serious. No one knew what to do. Later, Drunken Unicyclist would explain that he didn't have epilepsy, so he had no reason to think that this would happen if he started the game. He did have one seizure back when he was 5 years old, but that's it. So he had no reason to not play the game. He hadn't had a seizure since. But obviously for people with epilepsy, VR could potentially be a trigger because you're in an alternate reality and there's also a lot of stimulus. So anyway, he fully recovered from this incident. He was fine, but the footage of everybody in it just like freaking out and not sure what to do is very, very unsettling. Reckful's final stream before S-word. Okay, so up until this point in the video, I know that it doesn't seem like that much of trigger warnings, but trust me, from now on, from Reckful and the rest of these tiers, it's all bad. Before I get into this one, I just want to say, so weird, but very randomly, his video, the video of him signing off of his stream right before he loses his life, was recommended on my YouTube recommended page, literally like days before I started researching for this video. So I saw it and even like looked up what happened, and then it happened to be on this list. So very odd. Anyway, Byron Reckful Bernstein was a Twitch streamer who was very open about his mental health struggles and had a history of depression and S-word ideation concerns. This was the last few minutes of his stream before he passed away. This clip is not graphic and it's actually pretty normal without context. You would have no idea why this clip was even saved.
I hope you guys had a nice day. I'm gonna go offline. I guess I'll try to find something to watch for a tiny bit before I pass out. World stuff right now. Maybe it's all uphill from here, though. Everybody, we'll see. I will see you guys either tomorrow or the next day. Oh man. If you guys get lonely, you should talk to each other maybe and find some friends to play games with whenever you play games. I feel like people are always too scared to meet new people, try to meet others. Anyway. Goodbye, everybody. Like, yeah, I mean each other, yeah, in chat. Because there are probably a lot of like-minded people in the chat at this moment, you know? Have a good night. See you guys tomorrow. Or the next day.
Boop. The clip that you just saw was him signing off of his last stream on July 2nd, 2020. Earlier that day, he proposed to his ex-girlfriend via Twitter. He posted this. Although most people, and myself included, believe that she had nothing to do with his reasons for doing it. She said that she didn't even see this proposal until it was quote unquote too late. It's believed that he simply did this to let her know how much he loved her without actually saying anything or worrying her. And then he also tweets about 45 minutes after this, "I feel bad for anyone who has to deal with my insanity. Please just know in these situations, the insane person does not feel in control of their actions." As if that's not all just super tragic and sad enough. One of his brothers also passed away from S-word when he was young. I think when he was 6 years old. So, I mean, beside me feeling so terrible for somebody going through a mental struggle like this, like their parents having to deal with losing 2 out of 3 of their sons to S-word is so unbelievably heartbreaking to me. I don't see S-word as something somebody does. I see you as a victim of S-word. It's, something that happens to someone. Like he said in his tweet, you don't feel in control of your actions. Just everybody remember how invisible depression can be. People can seem just fine, and they're not. It's so sad. Okay, JoeDaddy essays his wife. Oh, okay. You can do this, Hannah. This piece of shit, JoeDaddy 505, aka Joe Ortega, was live streaming and he forgot to turn the audio off after he was done live streaming. I'm not going to play this one for you because it is literally actually one of the most disturbing and upsetting audios I have ever heard in my entire life. But somebody continued to record Joe's audio, and it's actually pretty sick because whoever recorded him is laughing at what's happening. Some people think, to be completely fair, that they're laughing because they're uncomfortable and they don't actually know what's going on in the video yet, but still, the whole thing is so upsetting. But it's a video of Joe Ortega R-wording and his girlfriend. Not only is that sound just absolutely atrocious, like I'm actually going to start crying. Okay, but you can hear her crying and screaming in the audio. It's the most disturbing thing I think I've ever heard, other than probably the Dnipropetrovsk maniacs and the audio of them killing their victims. Other than maybe that is a close second. But this one is so... Yeah, I'm not going to put in this video for obvious reasons because it's just very... it's graphic in a not visual way, but also I don't want to listen to it 3 times because I'd have to record it and then put it in the video. So yeah, sorry, not doing that. It is on YouTube though, for some reason. Like I said, it's not visually graphic. It's just still graphic in the audio form. I don't know why it's on YouTube, why it hasn't been banned from the platform, but yeah. Anyway, I would highly recommend not listening to it. I know that people that would be very triggered by something like this probably left the video at the beginning like I told them to, but even if you are fine with most of this stuff, I still wouldn't. It's absolutely despicable. So then Joe, of course, allegedly claimed that it was a misunderstanding and that she hit me first. I have a very hard time believing that, considering how violent he is in this audio. I don't know what exactly happened after this. The rumors and hearsay say that JoeDaddy went to a psychiatric hospital after this. He was drunk at the time of this incident. His girlfriend did not make a police report and did not want to come forward against him, which is, I know that's hard to hear because we want people like JoeDaddy to be charged and convicted because he should be in prison. That's literally where he belongs. But I'll never judge a victim for what they want to do, of course. That's I can totally understand not wanting to talk to police about it. She was probably really scared of him and what he would do if she did go to the police. The police also said that the audio wasn't enough to press charges, so they couldn't press charges. Don't even get me started on that. I have to move on because I will get, you guys, like, this kind of shit makes me so mad. But the fact that we wonder why victims don't want to talk to the police when the police literally said audio proof of this happening isn't enough to press charges or get Joe in trouble is absolutely, that is a mind fuck to me. So I don't ever want to hear victim blaming or why didn't victims go tell police, because that's why. Because police, even when they have proof, it's not proof. It's not good enough. So, okay, I need a minute. The next one is not much better. Mr. DeathMoth, it's his wife. Mr. DeathMoth, aka Luke Monday, was streaming. I'll show you some of the stream, but I won't show any of the audio because it's the audio. Again, that's very upsetting. The stream itself looks fairly mundane. His name is Luke Monday. He was streaming Fortnite on Twitch and didn't seem to give a shit that people were watching him. His wife comes in pregnant with their third child and 2 other children in the room as well. They want him to all stop streaming and come have dinner with them. Pretty reasonable request. He gets so mad, he gets up and you can hear him in the video strike her across the face. Like I said, you don't see it, thankfully, but all the audio is there and it's unbelievably cruel. You could hear his wife crying and the children, he does this in front of the children. The children are confused and upset. It's a terrible, terrible video. He was banned from Twitch for a period, and at least this time, he was arrested, but he pled guilty. And part of his plea deal was that he got to avoid any prison time. He received 14 months in community corrections. From my understanding, you're not in prison, but you're monitored for a period of time, in this case 14 months. It seems very similar to parole, if I'm understanding correctly. Grace, his wife, though, in that video, I guess she threw something back at him, and she also got charges for that. Because of that, her throwing something at him, he goes absolutely berserk. He's obviously has some serious issues. He's so volatile in this. It's like she literally just asked him to come to dinner. And if he's willing to do that on camera, imagine what he does off camera. Those poor kids and pregnant mom. If I remember correctly, I believe that they are not together anymore. Thankfully, I think she escaped that situation. Roro-chan's S-word. Roro-chan, 1999, was only 14 years old when this happened. It was November 2013. She was a Japanese live streamer. She live streamed her entire S-word. The video is, again, thankfully not graphic, but just very upsetting when you know the context. YouTube does not like it when you say how these things happen, but she live streams herself, JumpIng. The bizarre thing about this case is that nobody really knows why this happened to this day. Some of her posts talked about doing just this several days before it happened. She was like talking about doing this and talking about how she wanted to do it specifically to be a legend. But others believe that it was because of the online bullying she had been enduring lately, which honestly, I believe it, because some of the comments on this live stream were there was a few concerned people, but a lot of people saying, like, daring her, you know, to do it, or like, I bet you won't do it and stuff like that. Like, people were absolutely awful, but they were probably children themselves, I'm guessing. It kills me that she was 14 years old. Like, you have your entire life ahead of you, and to do something so permanent over something that is most definitely temporary, over the distress she was in, which was temporary, and that there was help out there. It's just so... It gets worse, though, you guys. Don't worry. It gets worse. This is the last tier of the iceberg, tier 6. So the first one is Armin Schmieder dies on stream. Whew, this one's not an S word, thankfully, but it is pretty dang brutal. Armin Schmieder was a very experienced skydiver who had recently gotten into a different form of base jumping, the use of a wingsuit. A wingsuit is a webbed sleeve jumpsuit that inflates, allowing the jumper to spend more time gliding in the air. Whereas in skydiving, you just dive straight down, you get to glide, be more like you have wings and are flying with this one. But with a wingsuit, you do typically have one parachute to help you float safely down at a certain altitude, but most don't bother with a backup parachute like in skydiving because you don't have enough time to deploy it, even if you had one. But wingsuit jumping is more dangerous than skydiving. Skydiving is surprisingly safe because, I mean, it's very well regulated. We have a lot of experience doing it. Often people go with an instructor, like you can skydive attached to somebody else who knows what they're doing. Stuff like that. But apparently with the wingsuit, there is a lot more knowledge required in general and a lot more skill required in general. With skydiving, you go an average of 100 miles per hour, whereas in a wingsuit, you often reach like 125 miles an hour. And then most significantly, you're way high up when you skydive because you're jumping off a plane, so you can reach an altitude that is safe. I know it sounds contradictory, but the higher you are, the safer it is because you have more time to deploy a parachute, or if the parachute fails, you have that time to deploy the backup parachute. If you're doing the wingsuit jumping, you're jumping off a ledge or a thing. You're not going up in a plane. So because you're going faster in a wingsuit and you have less altitude, you have less time, therefore, to react if something goes wrong, and you have less control because you're kind of gliding around. So because of that, wingsuit jumping is like you have a significantly higher chance of dying from wingsuit jumping. It's not something you should do unless you have many, many, many skydives under your belt and you should really, really know what you're doing. It is not something that like anybody can go take a course. Like, you know, I could, if I wanted to, go skydiving in a few days if I took the course and went with an instructor, like had somebody, you know, attached to me or whatever, right? Okay, back to Armin. So in August 2016, 28-year-old Armin Schmieder, he was live streaming his wingsuit jump on Facebook Live. The first few minutes of the 9-minute, 22-second video shows him putting his wingsuit on as well as his helmet. He is so excited, you could tell. He is beaming at the camera. He looks so excited to jump in these beautiful Swiss Alps is where he is. He says in the video, but in a different language, "Today you fly with me," as he prepares. He's just, you could tell he's beaming. He is so excited. At around 6 minutes though, he has to put his phone, which is still live streaming, in his pocket. So thankfully this video is not graphic visually again. So we just see this red darkness from that point on, but he keeps the phone on as he jumps. We hear, you know, like 20 some seconds of lots of wind, but then a short scream and a crash. After that, all you hear is cowbells, indicating that he likely landed in a cow pasture. You could then hear something that maybe would almost sound like a cow moving after the crash, but it hasn't been confirmed exactly what this is, and most people, myself included, thinks it sounds like Armin's last breaths, that he was not 100% gone after crashing, but he is, you know, making the last breaths, the death rattle. And then it's quick though. It's only a few seconds before there's complete silence. I highly doubt he was even conscious when that happened. I'm sure that was just the body's reaction. I would like to think that it was quick and that he didn't know what happened, I hope, before it happened. So anyway, he was found and his death was confirmed. Couldn't find any info on what happened exactly, if it was a user error. I'm guessing his parachute did not deploy or there was some sort of parachute malfunction is my guess. But it's so sad that he was so excited. He clearly died doing what he absolutely loved to do, but so tragic nonetheless. Okay, Ronnie McNutt. Only going to say his name once because, again, it's a huge trigger for YouTube. A lot of people have probably heard of this one. I certainly have. In fact, when I was newer to YouTube, I actually made a video about this tragedy because it was one of those videos that were being snuck into TikTok videos, so that like in the middle of a TikTok video, this video of him would flash in the video and friends would try to trick each other into watching this video, or people would put it on TikTok and try to trick unsuspecting users, which are often children on TikTok, into watching one of the most graphic live stream videos of all time. This one's horrendous. Okay, Ronnie was a 33-year-old American man. He live streamed his S-word on Facebook Live. The video is incredibly graphic because he uses a G-U-N. It is known that he greatly also suffers from depression, and sadly, on top of his depression, he also suffered from severe PTSD after serving in Iraq. At this time of the stream, he was also going through a breakup with his girlfriend. All of that stuff piled on each other. His best friend, Joshua Steen, was watching the live stream and became pretty concerned about his friend when he realized that Ronnie was intoxicated and had the weapon. He tried to get Facebook to stop the stream, so at least this could be handled in private because he was trying to get police there. But of course, Facebook were like, he's not violating any problems, in spite of the fact that his friend was telling them that S-word was possible here. Anyway, so that Facebook, it's your fault that this video even exists. Good job. Anyway, Ronnie's phone is ringing throughout the stream and he answers it once. It's the ex-girlfriend. They have a brief argument, and after hanging up, he says on stream, obviously, the conversation with his ex-girlfriend did not go well, but he says, hey guys, I guess that's it. And then the tragedy occurs right after that. Yes, his friend Joshua is trying to call police this whole time. From my understanding, police were there, but they don't fully enter until they hear the sound of the you-know-what. I know some people judge Ronnie for doing this on live stream in the first place. I think that's, again, I just try to have empathy for people that are suffering like this. According to his friend, Joshua, who was watching the live stream, Ronnie had no intention of this going viral. He did not mean for this to even really happen. I think he was not in his right mind at the time, as most people that do this are not. And so I have a hard time judging him for what he did because I don't think his intention was to be on Live Leak and to make this be forced on people that did not want to see it. I don't think that was his intention at all. I think he simply was not in his right mind and he was suffering so greatly that he had no control over his actions. Thankfully, that video is a little bit harder to find, and of course, as always, highly recommend not searching for it because people have said that it's ruined their lives, that seriously seeing that video has changed them forever and deeply disturbed them and made it hard to go to sleep at night. There's just some things that people don't need to see. I mean, I'd be a hypocrite if I said I hadn't seen it. I did see it way back when it was going viral, but I do strongly believe that even for those of us that are desensitized, we don't really need to see that shit either, to be honest. So, okay. The second to last one, that's a lie. The third to last one. Stas Reeflay kills his wife for $1,000. So here's another one I actually made a video on a while back. I also covered this story. It happened at the end of 2020. This piece of shit, Stas Reeflay, was a Russian live streamer who loved doing this thing called trash streaming. This is something that is way more popular in Russia. We don't see it over here in the States quite as much, although I'm sure it occurs somewhere. But it's this trend where live streamers will carry out dares, or they'll do something that somebody in their audience tells them to do in exchange for a donation. For example, one time a 60-year-old man died during a stream because he was promised a donation if he could drink 1.5 liters of vodka. 1.5 liters of vodka. Obviously, that didn't work. He passed away. So that's what trash streaming is like dares or doing really stupid stunts in exchange for donations. And as the donations get higher, the stunts typically get more dangerous. So Stas, who was already terrible to his girlfriend, and using terrible as a very subdued code word for, something else, he was offered the equivalent of $1,000 over a live stream to lock his girlfriend outside on their balcony in her underwear. It was below freezing outside at the time. Valentina Grigorieva was 28 years old. She died after Stas forced her outside and locked her out there. And at first, they believed that she had succumbed to hypothermia. This wasn't the first time that his viewers paid him to abuse his girlfriend. And even after realizing she was not in good shape out there and kind of like not responding, he still continued the stream because he's a POS. Finally, once he realized that his girlfriend was unresponsive, one of his viewers calls an ambulance and he finally brings her inside, trying to revive her. One viewer claimed that Stas had hurt her and even poured water on her before locking outside, which would make hypothermia even more likely. However, as if it couldn't get any worse, later it was determined that her cause of death was actually a head injury, not hypothermia, proving that he had in some way her before locking her outside. At the time, it was also reported that she was pregnant, but again, this was apparently not true. That was just a rumor going around. Stas continues the live stream with her body on the couch behind him until the paramedics arrive and police come to arrest him. Stas was ultimately sentenced to 6 years in prison. 6 years. 6 years. That's it. That's all he got because they just counted it as negligence. That's crazy to me. This did not seem like negligence to me. Like he was purposely harming her for money. I can't believe... In my opinion, Stas belongs in jail for the rest of his goddamn life. Oh my God, so many terrible people with the internet. Like, okay, we have 2 more today. Steven Stevens kills a man is the second to last one. On the afternoon of Easter Sunday, 2017, 74-year-old Robert Lee Godwin Sr. was walking home after celebrating Easter with his family. He's minding his own business in Cleveland, Ohio, Glenville neighborhood. He's collecting cans in a bag that he found, in exchange for the money that you can get when you turn in cans. 37-year-old Steve Stevens approaches him and demands that this poor old man says the name Joy Lane and says to him, "She's the reason all this is about to happen to you." Joy Lane was Steve's girlfriend, and apparently he was really pissed at her. After saying this to this 74-year-old man, he brandishes a gun. Poor Robert puts his hands up, like in a desperate plea of like, what the hell, man? And he says, "I don't know who you're talking about," like as if he thinks that he has the wrong guy, which he doesn't. We'll find out Steve just picked a person at complete random to kill. Sure enough, Steve takes Robert's life right there on the street. In broad daylight, might I add. Steve was filming this entire encounter, so there is video of it floating around the internet. However, this, interestingly enough, actually technically does not belong on this iceberg because it was a rumor that he was live streaming this whole thing. It was actually just video recorded and then he posted it on the internet. He uploaded the video to Facebook, and 2 days later, McDonald's employees tipped off police that they believed Steve was going through their drive-thru at the time. They tried to stall him by saying that his fries were still cooking, but he became suspicious and drove away. The police were on their way and a chase ensued, but once they were able to stop Steve Stevens' vehicle, Steven then dies from S-word in the car before the cops could get to him. It was also discovered that Steve claimed to have killed a lot of other people, like as many as 13, but police could find no evidence that he ever killed anybody other than Robert. He literally did this because he was mad at his girlfriend. I'm guessing he uploaded the video to Facebook hoping that she would see it, because in the video he makes it her fault. He's like, she's the reason, say the name Joy Lane because she's the reason that this is about to happen to you. And I think he's trying to get revenge on his girlfriend is what I understand from the situation, that he was trying to get revenge on her by making her feel like it was her fault that an innocent man died. My heart goes out to Robert's family, that he was just seemingly in the wrong place at the wrong time. Nothing more heartbreaking than that. But I also just hope that whoever Joy Lane is, his girlfriend, I just hope she's able to find peace as well. And I hope that she knew that this was not her fault. In spite of what Steve said, she had nothing to do with it. And even if he was mad at her, his actions were his actions and his alone. She was not responsible. All right, the last one on this list is the Christchurch Mosque shootings. On March 15, 2019, a 28-year-old Australian man carried out 2 different terrorist attacks against Muslims as they were just having their services, their prayer service. Between 2 different mosques that this man carried out these terrorist attacks, he killed 51 people and injured another 40 people. He was caught while he was driving to a 3rd mosque to try to continue these attacks. He live streamed these attacks for 17 minutes on Facebook Live. I could not find video of this. I think this one is pretty well deleted over the internet, which I think is a good thing. The perpetrator was caught. He actually did not die from S-word like a lot of these situations end. He was sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole, and that's where he is today. The death penalty, why didn't he get that? The death penalty was abolished in New Zealand many years ago. So this is the harshest sentence he could get. And if I understand the research correctly, he's like the only person in New Zealand that is in prison for life without any chance of parole. So, but yeah, that's one of the biggest tragedies that has, I would say in the top tragedies of all time. And he live streamed some of it. He got great joy out of carrying out his just incredible hatred. Okay, guys, I'm exhausted. Are you? I think I'm going to go watch some happier, more lighthearted podcasts now. I will see you guys in the next one. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'm going to make approximately $0.00 off of this video, which I'm okay with it. I understand that the very sensitive nature of this video, that's okay. I'm totally fine not making any money off of it. However, if you could just like the video just to help me out, just to help the channel out, I would be forever grateful. Thank you guys so much. Thank you for watching as always. I'll see you in the next one. Thank you so much to all of our patrons on the screen, with special shout out to Colin Holmes, The Deck of Cards, Michelle Valdovinos, Tom L, Little Kittle Cat, Rachel Schaefer-Meyer, Mike, Alice Paul, Brittany Phillips, Momo Neon, Marita 144, Sage K, Elderly Hipster, The Puppy Hag, Rebecca Jackson, Toby, Carter, Kawakan Anime and Gaming Convention, Sarah the Crazy Fish Lady, Blood for the Koi, Maxie, Ellison Luna, Julietta, Tiny Mighty Bookworm, A Bunny Apparently, Leon Vanek, Literally Lacey, Elliot Fink, I Am in Your Walls, Habromania, Cyberdog Investigations LLC, Vicky Cat, Amy B, Tickerch, Dead Without the E, Ball, Olivezilla, Chara, MH Dave, Ami, Lindsay R, Miss T, Ordinary Alpaca,